Mic's on.
All right. So I call to order the 63rd annual meeting of St. Alfred's Episcopal Church in Palm Harbor, Florida. We have 85 members present, so we have established a quorum.
At this time, I'd like to appoint Betty Davis as secretary of the annual meeting. We also need to approve the 2025 minutes.
Those are included in your annual report. Take a motion to.
Do I have a motion to approve those? Second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
At this time, I want to invite Sandy Tuller to come forward as the chair of the nominating committee for the election of the vestry.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
No.
No.
No? How about now?
I will just come down here.
Can you turn it on?
Technical difficulties.
Go over to the pulpit.
Can you hear me now?
No.
We should be good.
Try it now. Hey, Sandy,
Yes, sir.
we'll pass you this mic here.
None of them will work for a second. Give it a... I did it, Marty.
Okay, how about now?
Testing.
Got it now?
Now it works.
Okay, good morning. As Father said, I'm Sandy Tuller, member of the nominating committee. As I'm sure most of you are aware, the nominating committee is comprised of Father Peter and the outgoing vestry members. This year's outgoing vestry members include Barb Kunkel, Beth Stenz, and myself. The nominating committee is charged with the responsibility of locating and vetting eligible parishioners who have an interest and a desire to serve us by serving on our vestry. I'm pleased to report that this year the nominating committee has identified 3 candidates who are very active in the parish and who have an interest in serving on the vestry. And if I can ask you to stand as your names are called so we can all get a good look at you. This year's nominees are Joe Anderson, Tara Naswilga, and Sherry Labonte. At this time, we are ready to accept nominations from the floor. Do we have nominations to serve on the vestry? Okay, seeing and hearing none, may I have a motion to elect the 3 nominees to the vestry by acclamation? Okay. Motion? Do we have a second? Second? All in favor? All opposed? Okay, so Joe Anderson, Tara Naswilga, and Sherry Labonte are elected to the vestry by acclamation. Congratulations, ladies.
At this point, we're going to turn to our treasurer, Scott Garrett, for his financial report and presentation of the 2026 budget.
I'm going to apologize to those people that are way over there since you won't be able to see me. Good morning.
Good morning.
In my talk today, I don't intend to reiterate what I provided in my treasurer's report and your annual report, but we are going to refer to the annual report in a few minutes. First, I want to give a synopsis of the key elements of our financial performance in 2025. As I have said in previous talks to this parish, we rely almost exclusively on the generosity of our parish family to support the ongoing financial health of St. Alfred's. The tenant school, Plato, only provides about 12% of our annual income. While there is a significant amount of expense reimbursement received from the tenant school, much of the expense that is generated by the school would not be here if they were not utilizing our property. So you can't really look at the reimbursement income as something terribly significant because it's a pass-through. So it comes down to this. We, the parishioners who are part of St. Alfred's community, are the financial foundation for the ongoing operation and success of our church. In 2025, we presented you with a budget that reflected the situation that projected expenses would exceed the pledged and estimated non-pledged contributions and other miscellaneous incomes. We projected a $91,166 deficit. And that is exactly what happened by the end of the year. We've used approximately $91,200 in reserve operating income in 2025. But we need to remember that a budget does not reflect the whole picture. We don't start out the year without anything in the bank. And that is what permits us, an organization, to thrive with a deficit budget. It's not ideal and not the situation we want to present. But any budget is simply expected income compared to expected expenses. And here are some key statistics from our 2025 financial performance. Contributions received were approximately $5,000 below budget. We were very aggressive with our budgeting last year on contributions. 81 individuals and households pledged $309,454. And we received $308,940, or 99.8% of the monies pledged. That's an amazing performance. The average pledge fulfillment was 101%, which means that a significant individuals actually gave more than their initial pledged amount. Thank you. 91% of the pledging members fulfilled at least 90% of their intended pledge. That's pretty consistent with national averages, but once again, good performance. Non-pledged income, those contributions given by individuals who choose not to pledge, exceeded budget by over $31,000. And we received a very generous gift to our reserve operating fund in 2025. And due to careful management of funds, expenses ended 2025 slightly below budget. It was your financial stewardship and our healthy operating reserve account that permitted us to continue to meet all of our financial obligations. Our December financial reports indicated an excess of revenues over expenses of a little over $25,000. All of that was moved back into operating reserve. That, in fact, is a diocesan policy. You must end the year either negative or zero. So because we had an excess of revenues, it went back into operating reserve, and our budget ended at a net of 0. But before I move on to the 2026 budget, I want to talk about a couple extraordinary things in this parish. One is mission and outreach. It is and always has been a key element of the life of St. Alfred's. All of our outreach funding comes from you. And that is over and above the operating funds that you contribute on a weekly basis. More than $53,000 in cash has been dispersed to the wider community and world through the various avenues of St. Alfred's outreach. The Mission Outreach Committee, the Jamaican Mission Fund, and the Priest Discretionary Fund. That's that's more than 10% of our contributed income. But that doesn't account for the value of in-kind donations that have gone out from St. Alfred's, including Feast, Dunedin Cares, Oldsmar Cares, the Christmas gift collection, school supply collection, underwear collection. It is an amazing amount of outreach that comes from this congregation, and thank you for that. It's a tremendous thing. Sorry, I forgot to mention Ronald McDonald House. It was on the next page. There's an incredible amount of generosity in this place. The other thing I want to highlight is the aspect of volunteer services. St. Alfred's has 3 paid employees: Father Peter, Kevin, and Cindy. That's not enough to run a church of this size. If it were not for the dedication of those who willingly volunteer their time and talents for the daily operation of the parish, we would not be able to function as effectively as we do. Every day of the week, there are volunteers staffing the office, providing leadership, clerical, financial management, and support services, keeping business side of St. Alfred's running. On the facilities management side, management of our buildings and property maintenance, fire and safety systems, electrical, plumbing, heating and air conditioning are all maintained by volunteer leadership. This is probably 3 or more full-time equivalents that St. Alfred's does not have to fund. Thank you to all of you who provide the unending support to make St. Alfred's operate effectively and safely. Now on to the 2026 budget. If you would turn to page 8 in your annual report, you will find a summary budget for 2026. It shows what we budgeted in 2025, what was received in 2025, and the 2026 budget. As I said earlier, a budget is merely a projection. It is not real. This past year, we were very, very, very close. So, good budgeting process last year. Hopefully this year is as good. My hope is we will overwhelm us with positive revenues. I have a different perspective since I've moved from senior warden to treasurer. We have very little control over income, as it primarily relies on the generosity of you. Expenses can be controlled somewhat, but not always terribly easily. And we work hard to control those expenses that can be controlled. At the creation of this report, we have received pledges in the amount of $317,564. It's still not too late to make your pledge. In 2025, over $66,000 was given by individuals who did not make formal pledges. Now, many of these individuals give every week, religiously, have it set up to automatically give to the church. And perhaps you think you're pledging, but because you haven't completed a formal pledge, it's not counted as a formal pledge and isn't included in pledged income. So after this meeting, we're going to reach out to those people who give on a regular basis and find out if they want to convert that to a pledge. Remember, a pledge is not a contract. We understand things change. And if you can't meet it, just let us know. It's not a bad thing. Based on the best information we have, we are expecting contributions and miscellaneous income to total $547,157. You will note that we have not budgeted any music operating income. That is not because we're not funding music. It's because all donations to the music program from this point forward will go directly to the Organ Music Center, restricted fund. In the past, they've gone into the operating budget. Once money's in the operating budget, it might be used for what you wanted it to be used for, or it might be used for something else. That's just the way operating funds work. So what we have decided is all funds donated to the music program will be in a restricted fund, meaning it will only be used for the music program. And that restricted fund will now totally fund the operations of St. Alfred's music program, the maintenance of its instruments, and scholarships for students wishing to learn to play the organ. On the expense side, there's a few highlights to bring to your attention. Personnel, we provide a 3% cost of living adjustment to the base salaries of our 3 paid employees. This is consistent with diocesan practice and benchmark. Buildings and grounds is showing an increase due to an increase in the building insurance premium this year. It went up from about $90,000 to $101,000 for building insurance. We are looking at that. The diocese is looking at that. Hopefully, another year without hurricanes will allow that premium to drop. Mission and outreach shows a decrease because of our reduction in apportionment, the diocesan apportionment. The diocesan apportionment went down by $7,000 this year. And a reevaluation on how we budget mission outreach from an operating side. Taking into consideration the significant donations to mission and outreach made to the restricted account. All of that money comes from the same place. And effectively, the way we budgeted it in the past was we were asking you to pay to this fund and to pay to this fund, all from the same place. We are still budgeting for mission outreach, but it's a level consistent with what we've paid in the past years to help cover those programs that we may not have expected to happen. There are some like Jamaica and Feast and things like that we regularly fund. But if there's something that comes up that we need extra funds, there is money in the operating budget consistent with the money we've spent in the past 3 years per year out of the operating budget. It was just getting a little bit high. So the final expense budget in 2026 estimates $636,080, or 2% higher than 2025. Remember, we hit budget for expenses exactly at where we had planned last year. Consequently, once again, our current estimate is that expenses will exceed anticipated contributions by $88,923. That means we will dip again into our reserve operating. Our reserve operating was depleted a fair amount last year, so we need to build that back up. And that is built up through donations, through months where we have excess revenue, we move it over into operating to gain interest until we need it again. But we need to build back up those funds, and we will work to do that through the course of the year. But just as we face the $91,000 deficit in 2025, we will succeed in meeting this. We will pay our bills. You will notice this year that the budget that's presented has a zero net. We will pay those whatever comes up, and at the end of the year, we will have a zero net. It will exactly meet revenues, will exactly meet expenses, and if they are in excess, we'll move those into operating reserve. This is not an insurmountable thing for this parish. We've shown that in the past. It's less of a deficit than last year, if that's any consolation. $10,000 less, so I think, or $3,000 less. If anyone wants a full copy of the full detailed budget, we will provide that to you. This is a summary of the budget that was approved by the Vestry. Remember, the Vestry approves the budget, the congregation does not. So if there's any questions, at this point, if you would go to the microphone and turn it on, and then raise your question. I'll be happy to answer. Okay, there being no questions.
Thank you, Scott, for all the work he does. Scott did not toot his own horn, but among those who give an extraordinary amount of time to this place as a volunteer is Scott. He's in the office at least 3 days a week working on finances and has put together a financial presentation that is extraordinary and streamlined the way we do things in the office. So deeply indebted to Scott for all that he does around here. At this time, I want to appoint our convention delegates. And before I do that, I do want to offer just a general invitation. Convention delegates are appointed by the rector to serve the parish, representing the parish in the diocesan convention. That meets typically in the second week of October. Every parish in the diocese gathers in Punta Gorda for 2 days of ministry fairs and the work that we're doing here today in our annual meeting on a diocesan scale, presentation of a budget, resolutions, etc. And it's a wonderful way to remind ourselves of the connection that we have with a wider church at the diocesan level, and that connection extends beyond that to the national level and even the worldwide level. We are part of the Anglican Communion, and so our participation in diocesan events, diocesan leadership, and certainly the diocesan convention is a vital part of who we are as an Episcopal church in the United States. And if you have an interest in kind of getting involved at that level, there are all sorts of ways that you can serve the diocese, represent this parish at the diocesan level. One of the simplest is to serve as a delegate to convention. We have a couple new folks this year who have expressed interest, and so I gladly accepted their request to serve as delegates. And that is two of our new vestry members, Joe Anderson and Sherry Jacasol Labonte. They will be representing us, along with one of our veterans, Sandy Tuller. And I think it's good to have somebody who has been to convention before with the group of us who go down to convention, just to be there to answer questions, to walk folks through what's going to happen next. And so I'm happy to appoint Sandy Tuller, Sherry Jacasol Labonte, and Joe Anderson as delegates to convention. Robert, did you have a comment or a question? No? No? So thank you to them for their willingness to serve. And again, if in future years you have an interest in getting involved in that way, please speak to me and we can talk about that. At this point, I want to recognize and thank our outgoing vestry members. Beth Stens, who has served on the vestry for the past 3 years, is not able to be here today. She is up in Gainesville finishing up work on her PhD in accounting and regrets not being able to be here, but I have a gift for her that I'll present at a later time. But I want to invite Sandy to come back up forward here. And Barb, you don't have to move very far at all. So So both Barb Kunkel will be retiring from Vestry after 3 years service on the Vestry and 1 year as senior warden, and Sandy retiring after 3 years of service on Vestry as well. So my tradition, my practice is to offer a gift each year of a book that I think may speak to them in some way. So this is presented to Sandy. Dear Sandy, in recognition of your wholehearted faith and the amazing and consistent ways that you give wholeheartedly of yourself to this parish in worship, in mentoring, in leadership, and in governance, we honor you with Rachel Held Evans' book, Wholehearted Faith. So thank you, Sandy. And to dear Barb Kunkel. And the good news with these retiring Vestry members is they're not going anywhere, right? I mean, Sandy is still going to be up here serving at the altar and training servers and recruiting and training lectors and so many other ways. So she's not going anywhere, and either are you, right?
No.
No, all right.
You've told me that countless times.
Dear Barb, in thanksgiving for your wise and fearless leadership, deep friendship, and all the ways you have kept the ship of our parish afloat, steering a true course and helping to map out the way forward for St. Alfred's towards a very bright future, we honor you this day.
Thank you.
Our next order of business, our mother parish, Good Shepherd Episcopal Church in Dunedin, is celebrating its 140th anniversary this coming week. And in honor of that, for those of you who don't know, we were a mission of Good Shepherd back in 1963. They sent 12 families from their parish over here to the hinterlands of Palm Harbor to establish a new church. So we are here because of Good Shepherd in Dunedin. And so in honor of their 140th anniversary, we offer this courtesy resolution. Celebrating 140 years of worship and ministry by the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd, Dunedin, Florida. Whereas the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd in Dunedin, Florida has faithfully served God and the wider Dunedin community for 140 years, offering worship, fellowship, and outreach in the spirit of Christ's love. And whereas throughout its rich history, Good Shepherd has been a beacon of hope and hospitality, nurturing generations in faith, fostering spiritual growth, and engaging in ministries that reflect the gospel in action. And whereas the parish has contributed immeasurably to the life of the Episcopal Diocese of Southwest Florida and the broader community through its commitment to service, education, and compassionate care. And whereas St. Alfred's Episcopal Church, Palm Harbor, rejoices with Good Shepherd in this milestone anniversary, giving thanks for its enduring witness and partnership in the mission of the church. And whereas St. Alfred's Episcopal Church was founded as a mission of the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd in 1963 and gratefully acknowledges this historic bond, now therefore be it resolved that St. Alfred's Episcopal Church extends heartfelt congratulations and prayers for continued blessings upon the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd, Dunedin, Florida, as it celebrates 140 years of faithful worship and ministry and looks forward to many more years of shared service in Christ's name. Adopted this day, January 25th, 2026, at the annual meeting of St. Alfred's Episcopal Church, Palm Harbor, Florida, and signed by me as the rector and by Barb Kunkel as our senior warden. So, hear, hear. We will present that to the rector, Whitney Burton Smith. Their annual meeting is coming up the second weekend in February 14th, I think it is, or 13th. So we will present that to them at that time. All right. The final act of business before we move to the presentation from Alfonso Architects on our long-range vision is to introduce the visual guide to the arts here at St. Alfred's that Joyce Oldmixon and Marty Broward have spent the last, how long? several months, anyways, updating. We had a guide that we put together for the 50th anniversary, was it? That has been available to walk people through all of the various artwork that we have here at St. Alfred's, much of it created by parishioners, others by artists in the wider community. We had some questions from newer parishioners about the art, which prompted Joyce and myself and others to talk about maybe it's time to redo that visual guide to the arts and update it and make it available not only as a booklet to be available to folks who want to walk through the church and the grounds to see the art, but also available on our website. So I want to offer our thanks to Joyce for rewriting it, for Marty for taking the photographs that accompany it, and for producing that booklet that will be available to anybody who would like to see it and is now currently up on our website. So if you go to that, you can find the Guide to the Visual Arts on our website to hear not only about the art here and the artists who create it, but to remember what a significant part that the arts, including music, have played in the life of this parish. We are blessed with the amazing frescoes and murals by Christopher Still, which are priceless, but there are so many other gifts of art that adorn our sanctuary that we use in worship. Janet Helm created the beautiful font at the back of the church, along with some communion vessels. Father Agostino's wife, Barbara, also a potter, has created things for our worship. So many pieces here exist that have been created in love and given to this parish to serve it. And when we create things of beauty, it delights God's heart. So I want to again thank Joyce and Marty for updating this guide and for all the countless artists who continue to give to this parish to help us, to enable us to worship God in beauty and in holiness. So thank you. All right, I know that David Del Tosto is here. Is he hiding in the back there somewhere? There he is, okay. I'm going to invite David to come on in, and he has brought some presentation boards that we'll set up on these easels over here. David is a principal at Alfonso Architects in Tampa, Florida. He and his firm have done a great deal of work with the diocese, working with congregations in the diocese, particularly on the rebuilding after hurricanes. They are a firm that generously donates or provides at very reduced costs their services for churches. It's part of their giving back to the community. So we have been blessed to work with David and some of his associates. And as I said in my annual report, when we went to them, we asked them to accomplish several things in the visioning process to help us imagine what might be. And among those is a reimagining of our property, again with the removal of Reister Hall, the sports court and the play field, and our current office building, the repurposing of Memorial Hall back into office and meeting space, and a beautification of the outdoor chapel and sound protection for it from road noise. So these photographs are all part of the slideshow that David is going to present to us. We're going to begin with a brief video that kind of walks you through the wonder of technology, what this reimagined campus would look like. So you'll have a chance to see the whole thing on the screen behind me. David will then walk through, I think there are 24 or so slides that look at different aspects of the plan. As I said in my annual report, these are not final drawings. These are a vision of what could be. They are designed to inspire us, to foster conversation and deliberation as we think about what it is God is calling us to be and to do in the next few years. We have been in so many ways saddled by Plato Academy, limited in what we can do as a congregation in ministry and outreach. You wouldn't know that by looking at what we actually do, but imagine what is possible here in this place with the energy and gift of this community, with greater access to meeting space, with fellowship space, with outreach space. The possibilities really are endless, and I am convinced that God has extraordinary things in store for us. And so these next 5 years are going to be a chance for us to look at what is possible, what is God calling us to do. And again, these drawings are a way to stimulate those conversations, our imaginations, and to open us up to all sorts of possibilities. So at this time, I'm going to invite David to come forward. Do we have the headset for him? Is that... I didn't do that. You want to use this mic instead, or?
No, yeah, the mic, no, I have to you could just hold it. You're going to have to stand over here a little bit, but you're on a shortish lead.
That's fine.
I'm going to be your camera operator.
Perfect.
Right.
Do we want to start with the video, or do we want to start with the...
I think the video is the way to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have that keyed up now.
Perfect.
All right.
Wonderful.
So I want to introduce to you David Del Tasto.
Good morning, everybody.
Architect. And I'm going to take a seat and turn it over to you. All right.
Wonderful. Thank
All
you
right,
very much.
Thank you.
So just a quick, before we get started here, we found you folks through a mutual connection over at St. James Episcopal. I'm currently working on their campus master plan, and we're doing, if any of you are familiar with their property over in Tampa, they own a pretty sizable lot, almost 3 acres right due east of the church. So my expertise is in residential architecture and been doing it some 30 odd years. So we're going to be doing a 120-ish unit affordable housing complex for them. And then the funds generated from the land lease of that property will be going toward reimagining and revisioning their campus. So we were introduced from some board members over there to Father Peter and the crew over here. And when we started talking, he expressed a very similar mission to what they were doing, so we thought it was, kind of a natural fit, and obviously we were happy to help out. So, as Scott mentioned and as Father mentioned, everything you're going to see is conceptual. It's very well thought out. We do have a preliminary budget that I shared with you Friday, I believe. Right. So, but what we'll do is we'll go through the video. It's just it's kind of a fly through and a walk through of what I will present in the slide deck. So it's a very short video. It's like 2 minutes. So let's watch that, and then you guys please feel free to ask questions anytime. I mean, there's no real structured presentation from me, so if you have a question, just raise your hand and I'm happy to answer it. So.
All right, here we go. There's no sound, so don't expect any audio.
That was it. So what we'll do is we'll go through, we've got a small, short PowerPoint, it's 20, 24 slides, something like that, and it's really key images and things that describe the master plan and what's going on. So I will let Scott. Oh, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so again, I do understand and fully realize that some people are not visual and cannot read plans. And like I said, please stop me and ask questions if you have something. Again, the front part of your campus, we didn't do anything with the back parking lot. But when I met with Father Peter and Barb and Scott, and some other folks, we talked about where he would like to see the campus in the next 5 years after the lease on Plato expires. And it was an interesting, ambitious vision. We've gone through a handful of concepts, and we've been working on this probably the last 5 or 6 months, maybe. At the end of the day, we all agreed that this was the best path forward right now. Doesn't mean it can't change, but this is where we landed. So some of the mission was to create visual presence from Curlew, but also have some sound barrier and a little bit of a like sound barrier is the best way to put it. So what you guys can see is we've reimagined the parking lot a little bit. We've relocated the retention area and put some trees around it to help create a barrier. But if you remember from the video when it started and panned down, there's still very nice visual presence to the church from Curlew. So Scott, go back to the site plan. Yeah, thank you. So we've got a very nice fellowship gathering courtyard. Again, you saw that kind of toward the end of the video. We've got a children's playground. Toward the end of the slides, and the first board there on the far left is the reimagined plans for Memorial Hall that I can walk through briefly. We emphasized the Memorial Garth walk. We reimagined each side of the outdoor chapel, which I love. I think that's a fantastic space. And actually, the artist that did your murals is a personal friend of Albert Alfonso. So when Albert and I were here 6 months ago, he was very excited to be part of this project. So we've got the glass canopy, we've got the children's playground, and we've got, like I said, a nice walking path and meditation garden, on each side of the chapel. So that's just again, a very high level overview. The next handful of slides are just bird's eye views, axonometric views of the property from all around, from different angles, so you guys can see. Yeah, I'm gonna walk around. With my luck, something would happen. Just be easier. Again, parking lot, retention, fellowship, courtyard, Memorial Garth, the glass covered canopy, outdoor chapel, and the meditation areas and path. So, and I understand, Father told me recently that you guys are working on getting a glass skylight. So, yeah, that'll be wonderful. So we've included that in the renderings and in the preliminary budget, so.
February 2nd is the plan for it to be installed.
Awesome.
I meant to mention that in my talk. It's currently planned that February 2nd, the new skylight will be installed, and the darkness will be made light.
Yeah. So.
Thank you very much. Okay, I can't tell where the signage is that from the street, so that you can see it from Curlew.
Right, so it's actually,
Do you want this off, Scott?
this signage. So it's literally, it would be literally right here where the plaza starts.
The end of Rector, where this
Correct. Yes, there are, we do have 2 monument signs out on the street, one at each vehicle entrance, correct.
It looks to me like the parking that is closest to Curlew is situated in such a way, for instance, that it would be most available when when Memorial Hall is going to be in use for something. Am I interpreting that correctly? That it's more parking toward, no?
The question was related to the use of the front parking lot. That's 43 spaces that will be available at all times. It's not just for Memorial Hall. It gives an easy access from Curlew, right there.
So there's a walkway that comes into like the courtyard?
Yes, if you see where the canopy starts there, that comes right out into in the middle there, David. Yeah, that. And we're actually probably going to put an exit off the side to get to the Temple Road, so you can have additional parking around back when that's full, so you don't have to go back out onto Curlew to get to it. But once again, this is initial, very initial. It's a palette from which we will work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question. As I mentioned, we explored many iterations of the site plan. One of them was a lot of parking closer to Curlew and a grass landscape buffer. Like I said, we felt this one ended up working out the best for everything presently. I understand and I know that there's some parking over there now, and there's an existing curb cut, so we want to try and utilize as much of the existing as we can to mitigate the expenses and the cost. So yeah, right now there's 30 or 40 spaces over there. It doesn't mean we couldn't increase it or decrease it. Again, this is just where we landed right now. So, and again, we just the continuation of the perspectives from the bird's eye view.
I can shout, it's okay. Former phys ed teacher. Is it wise to have a glass covered, it's beautiful, but to have a glass covered walkway in a hurricane area?
That's a great question. So, full disclosure, we initially just had a canopy. And through conversations with Scott and the father, someone suggested making it transparent or glass or for natural light. You know, we didn't want it so dark, and so yes, very valid question. I can tell you that when it comes to it, whether it's glass or not, it will be built and it would meet all codes, hurricane included, right? That's a requirement. What I can't promise you is what a hurricane's gonna do to anything, but that's an excellent point and something we will keep in mind going forward. You know, maybe we limit the area of glass or the amount of glass or something for, you know, safety and security reasons, but excellent point, thank you.
Yeah, and the key thing that we wanted to accomplish here is to have coverage walking from building to building and from the parking lot. So we asked for the glass, and then we got it and thought, well, who's going to get up there and maintain that and wash it and rake the leaves off of it? So things will change, but there will be some sort of covering going from building to building.
Was there another question over here?
My question is about the trees on the property as they currently are. We don't want the trees to be removed.
So unfortunately, we haven't gotten to that level of detail yet. But when push comes to shove and we start doing all the real work, then there will be a tree survey. We will speak to an arborist. We will see what we can remove and not remove. So, but at this point, we're kind of at the 100,000 foot level. We're still just looking at it very high level and haven't gotten to that level of detail yet. And again, all these renderings are taken. They're basically still shots from the video. So, we just tried to pick the best ones that spoke about the picture. The signage, again, would be right out here. We're envisioning some cool water feature or fountain at the entrance. Just a nice, formal, informal, welcoming entrance. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to say thank you to you and your organization, because Father Peter shared at the beginning that you are donating, your fees are reduced, and that you do that to help parishes. And I think that's a tremendous gift, because clearly from this presentation, you've not diminished your talent, your thoughtfulness.
Thank you.
And I just think it's really, I just really wanted to call that out.
Thank you very
really,
much.
really
I appreciate that. And I will be sure to pass that on to the rest of the folks in my firm. And please let me throw that out there. This was not a one-man show. I have worked on this with your great folks, but I have a team of very talented people working with me. So this is not an individual effort by any means. So. Yeah, that would be looking this way.
Can you speak about the function of those walls?
Yeah, so the Father and I have gone back and forth on the brass plaques, the memorial plaques with the names on them. We wanted to reimagine that, and so what we did, and what you can kind of see from this image, again, this is another feature that helps block the sound from Curlew and create a space, on the other side where the fellowship courtyard is, and creates a nice, strong axial path. From the back parking lot, you can walk through here. If you needed to get dropped off over here and just walk up. So, and again, things like this, maybe in the final iteration, those walls are half the height they are, so it still allows more visual, presence to the front and to the courtyard. Again, this is vision and concept at this time. So these are three of my favorite areas of this whole project. The outdoor chapel, a request was to put some weather protection over it, and the first one we had was a flat operable canopy. I did a similar structure at, if any of you are familiar with Hillsborough Community College, their new campus, the administration building, I was part of that, and we had a very cool operable canopy entry feature. So I thought that would be a nice feature here, days where it's sunny, and all they are little louvers that open and close. So it would allow light to stream in, and if it's raining, you could close it and protect it. Father and Scott had suggested a different shape that mimicked the gable end of the church over here, and when we put that in and redesigned it, it really made it come together beautifully. I think this is a much more elegant solution. So, and then we've got the prayer and meditation areas on each side. There's some walking paths. There's some, benches to sit and pray and meditate. So, but yeah, this is my favorite area of the whole project.
That's between the chapel and the parking lot, the back one.
That's right back here. So this view is right back here, where the office building is.
That's from the parking lot.
So one of the requests was to repurpose Memorial Hall after the school leaves. So I walked through there. We toured a few times, and again have gone back and forth. We had great teamwork with you folks. So there was a program provided to us, which labels all the spaces. Again, the point of this was trying to rework and do as minimal a work as possible. The less we have to demolish and reconstruct, obviously it's a financial impact. So I think we were pretty successful in keeping a lot of the walls and just repurposing. The biggest change to the ground floor, you guys can see, we took out most of that half of the building. That fellowship hall is about 4,000 square feet. So it's 4 times as big as you have now. Is that what you said? Okay. So just to give you an idea, we've got, we just repurposed the offices, and obviously the restrooms we're not changing. They will get a refresh and whatnot. But so we've got a nice fellowship hall, gathering space, and we've got a nice kitchen, catering kitchen, prep kitchen. So.
David, I
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
question from one of our parishioners. Can you ask if there will be an electronic sign that can be updated with worship plan and events? So
Sure.
our signs out on the both sides.
Again, that's when we get into the nuts and bolts of it, 100% we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Is that fellowship hall capable of being broken down into, for small group type things, and then opened up for really large, that type of thing?
Yes, the short answer to that is yes. We actually did do that upstairs, you'll see on the second floor, but yes, we could do that to this space as well. And then the upper floor, We had a request to have some leasable tenant space, so there's a significant area over here to lease to a third party. Right now, this meeting room is the one that could be subdivided. But again, you guys can see there's plenty of options. You know, we could take every one of those walls out on the top section and make them operable partitions. So, and I think that
David?
is it.
Can we back up a couple of slides and to the parish hall and show them where the kitchen is and talk about that?
Right there. And it's a very sizable kitchen. I mean, we've got, you know, a run of cabinetry back here. We've got an island, like a prep island, and then potentially a serving island. So you could circulate around this. There's a pantry, dry storage area off here. And then, you know, one thing everybody always forgets about is table and chair storage. So we've got a pretty sizable area for that. And again, if the kitchen had to get bigger or smaller, or the pantry bigger or smaller, easily done, right? Like I said, this is a snapshot in time. So nothing, as Father mentioned, nothing here is final. So.
I think you said this is roughly 4,000 square feet in the gathering area.
Yes, sir.
Any idea what the square footage is at Rector Hall that we currently use for coffee mornings? About 1,000. 1,000? Okay, thank you, Peter. So 4 times the size. Yeah.
Any other questions? Comments? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We have seen beautiful visioning, and thank you so very much, all of you who worked on this. I know we're excited. I'm wondering, I've seen everything on the campus, but the back part of the campus? Have I seen that?
So we have not done anything with the parking lot yet. We can. That was not part of this first exercise and this first mission. So we may take a holistic look at reorganizing the parking lot, making it more efficient, getting more spaces, but that was not part of this exercise.
I was going to ask what the total parking, since we're going to be growing so much, what is the total parking going to be? Thank you.
I'll have that for you next time.
Well, it's 43 spots out front that we didn't have before. And then everything that's back there. Nothing was taken away. And remember, that parking lot was just redone within the past 10 years. So the other thing that we're thinking of is to create an entrance off the courtyard to the fellowship hall. Directly off the courtyard, so you don't have to go through the building. You can leave the church and go directly into the fellowship hall.
That would be...
This way.
Yes.
Right
Yeah.
across. So there's already a door in the side, so we can just make it a little bit bigger. But yeah, it's a beautiful concept. And it's only 4 years and 6 months before Plato goes away. It's not...
Right, so you guys have plenty of time to do some fundraising and get some money stashed away to help make this a reality.
We're going to start a countdown clock, too.
Perfect. Any other questions, folks? Thank you very much for your time and allowing me to present.
Again, our thanks to David and his team over at Alfonso Architects. And I think you're all on board with the idea that this is a vision, right? And God has something remarkable in store for us. We have come through remarkable things already. And as Scott talked about in his treasurer's report, the energy and the giftedness and the generosity in this congregation, the spirit, the faith, is remarkable. And that is only going to continue to grow and develop in years to come. So good things are in store, and this is an opportunity for us to celebrate that and begin to roll up our sleeves and begin the work of putting this into finer focus and doing the hard work of raising some funds. And again, all of that is in our control. We are not obligated to do any of this, but I think we are being called by God to take this on. So, any final questions or comments? Okay, all right.
I was just going to say it seems very accessible, and like that seemed to be a very important filter of how this was designed, and I can't understate that enough.
Right. Tara's comment is that this all seems very accessible, both from folks passing by on Curlew. It was one of our major goals, was to increase visibility and accessibility, and as a campus, making it flow from an accessibility standpoint. Easy passage from the front parking lot into the church, into the Memorial Hall, easy access from the back parking lot into church, into Memorial Hall, into the outdoor chapel, throughout, into the Garth. So, yes, yeah. Right, yeah, I agree, Bill. I think they've, right. One of the major goals accomplished is visibility from Curlew. Yep, absolutely. All right. You have a comment unrelated.
I have an unrelated comment. I'm getting ready to do the new directory. If you want your picture in it, I need it by next Friday, or it will be published with no picture. Thank you.
All right, anything else to come before this meeting? Any other business not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? So moved by Elaine, a second? Second by Barb. All in favor? Aye. And I'm going to invite us to stand and we will sing the doxology. And Kevin and Scott, if you want to lead us in that. Hang on. All right, okay. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.